Hi there, Zamir for NerdTube. These are my thoughts and spoilers of the Peaky fucking Blinders, Season 6, Episode 1, A Bad Day. I just want to say that it's actually a fucking good day because the Peaky fucking Blinders is back. Now, I'm not going to give too much of a play-by-play of this entire episode. There were some interesting moments, but I do want to say that this episode kind of reminded us who Thomas Shelby is. He's a fucking dangerous man. He's an extremely intelligent man who plays a game of chess with the people around him. He is also a superstitious man, and on top of that, he's kind of a changed man too. And we get all of that in this one episode. At the beginning of this episode, we get a conclusion to what happened with the failed assassination on Oswald Mosley, that terrible British version of Hitler, so to speak, that far-right dickhead. See, this man was supposed to be assassinated by Thomas Shelby, but that failed, and we found out why through the People Republic of Ireland when they gave Thomas Shelby a phone call. They told him that they need Oswald Mosley alive, and then unfortunately for Thomas, that the people who did try to attempt the assassination were the people who ended up being killed, and one of those people was the character of Polly Gray, played by the late Helen McCrory. It was a good way of writing her out the show because she did pass away, and rest in peace, Helen. Now, why Oswald Mosley remains alive, hopefully we will find out during the course of this particular season, but we immediately cut to 4 years later. Now, one of the reasons why I said that Thomas Shelby is a changed man is that by this particular period he's now been teetotal for 4 years. He doesn't drink alcohol anymore. Also, this year is the year 1933, which is the end of Prohibition in America. So a lot of people are upset because they're not making that sweet cash by smuggling alcohol onto the American black market. It goes to show that if you do legalize certain things, you take it out of the hands of criminals. So I wish politicians would understand this fucking thing and make more things which they deemed illegal, which is not so bad, like cannabis, fucking legal. Okay, back to this particular episode. As it's 4 years later, we see Thomas in a French bar waiting to meet Michael Gray, his cousin, so they can talk about a new proposition. Whilst he's waiting, a few drunk Frenchmen who are pissed off by looking at someone like Thomas, thinking that he's made his money, and while poor people like these French smugglers ain't got shit anymore because of Prohibition being ended. Well, because of that, they try to start a fight with Thomas, and I do love this particular scene because Thomas does cut one of them up, and then he ends up pulling his gun out, shooting a telephone, and then a pigeon comes in on the scene, startling Thomas, and he shoots that too in mid-flight. Kind of shows that Thomas is an excellent shot and not to be fucking fucked with. I liked all of that. We see that obviously that shows you that he's also a dangerous man too, and we also see the moment of his intelligence, because after he strikes a deal with Michael Gray in the same pub regarding selling opium to the American market, he then gives Michael a bunch of opium and then sets Michael up for being caught by the cops on a boat, trying to saying that he's smuggling the opium. And the reason why he done that is that Michael is married to Anya Taylor-Joy's character, and she has a very powerful uncle who has a voice in the Oval Office, so to speak, who knows the president, so to speak. And he wants to get this guy's attention, which Thomas Shelby does, because he wants to sell him the fucking opium. And by putting Michael in a very precarious position that the whole fucking press and the whole world knows about him having a nephew, so to speak, or his niece's husband being in jail over drugs, so to speak, it puts him in a precarious position, which means that he's more likely to at least listen to Thomas and do business with him. Very clever of Thomas as well. Shows you his change, shows you his intelligence, and shows you how dangerous he is as well. Now, regarding the superstition, we get a moment in this episode as well where his daughter is sick and his wife is telling him over the phone, just after Thomas has already fucked a whore, by the way, and the whore is just getting ready to leave and all of that, which is kind of hilarious. But now he's now talking to his wife, and his wife tells him that his daughter is very sick and she's chanting gypsy words and stuff like that. And we see the superstitious side of Thomas as well, wondering what the fuck, and visions and stuff like that. As an atheist, I find all of this stuff to be very bizarre, but nevertheless, I thought Thomas Shelby was an atheist, to tell you the truth, but nevertheless, he's very concerned about all of this shit, and he's going straight back to England to deal with this particular matter. He does also speak to Michael as well, letting Michael know that he was the one that he framed regarding the opium, and he tells him why, because he wants to speak to his fucking uncle, and if his uncle doesn't do business with him, he will sell to his competitors, which are the Jews, the Chinese, the Jews, the Irish, and the Italians, which are the competitors to Anya Taylor-Joy's uncle, Michael Gray's now uncle-in-law, so to speak. So yeah, it sets up a few things. Now, regarding this particular uncle, we never saw him in this episode, but I do believe he will be played by a very prominent, well-known actor. Who it may be, I don't know. But we have seen big-name actors in this show, or people who have become big-name actors in this show. Someone like Anya Taylor-Joy, she became a massive star after season 5, and she didn't necessarily need to come back on this, but I'm glad she did. Obviously, we have Tom Hardy, who's been in this show as well. We'll see if he comes back in some way or another. Adrian Brody's been in this as well. There's some big fucking actors who've been on this show. Oh, Sam Neill, who can forget him as well in season 1. So yeah, we'll see what happens in the future regarding who this Uncle Jack may be. I can't wait to see. I hope I'm not putting my hopes up too much. But nevertheless, a great episode, a great way to start the show. Can't wait to see what happens in the future. Will the opium trade work? Who knows? And regarding the change in Thomas, even though he's no longer drinking anymore, he's still smoking like a fucking chimney. So he has tried to better himself, but not completely, because he still has bad habits. So we'll see how that pans out. And regarding some of the other characters too, like Arthur Shelby, he's become a bit of a drunk, bit of a junkie. If he's not getting drunk out of his fucking face, he's getting high as a fucking kite by going to the Chinese opium houses and doing a lot of opium there. The sister, Ada Shelby, she's kind of taken the role of Polly Gray. You can see it in her. She's the new maternal figure of the Peaky Blinders, and she's taking it in her stride, considering all her brothers are fucking gangsters and stuff. It was an easy void for her to fill, and she's doing it very well, in my opinion. She is the new Polly Gray of that particular group. And Thomas Shelby's wife as well, like, she was very much smitten by Thomas initially, but now she's not so as much. I think she cares more about the welfare of her family and stuff like that. Now she's got a kid with Shelby, so we'll see how that pans out too. I think she still obviously loves Shelby as well, but the smittenness that she initially had, and how she initially was just a fucksing, early on in the previous seasons, and now she's married to him and all of that. Yeah, we'll see how that pans out too. And regarding other members of the family, well, we never really got to see them too much, but I'm sure they will all have their moments in the sun in future episodes too. Anyways, if you've been watching Peaky Blinders like I have, and you would like to tell me more about this particular episode or previous episodes, then let me know in the comment below. But also, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you never heard of. Take care. Bye bye.